Hi, so here we are on Monday, September 28th, the end of the month, and we're sort of in a turning point with our learning, and I wanted to kind of walk you through that in terms of what we're doing and the pace and flow of those tasks. So you're moving from Module 6, Romanesque style of art and architecture, into Module 7, the French style of art and architecture. Now, in terms of the architectural development, this is a kind of a story that's continuous, and yet there's a transformation. So everything you learned here in the Age of Cathedrals Part 1, in terms of pilgrimage and relics, in terms of architecture, pointed arches, ribbed groin vaults, all of that continues to be really important. So if you haven't looked yet at the questions and open discussions, I hope you will do that, because a lot of people were very generous with their time, their resources, their thinking, such as Charlotte offering a video. And videos are absolutely helpful, as I was saying here, because architecture is a four-dimensional experience. 3 dimensions of space, but also the dimension of time. Being there in person is the best way to learn about it, but if you can't, videos are a good second. So a number of folks gave you links to resources that can help on that. Others were posing questions to help share together the collective process of kind of chewing on all this information in order to digest it. Because it is a lot of information, right? And a lot of information, such as the difference between a vault and an arch. This term, thank you, Anome, for bringing that up, because this terminology can be a headache, because it's very specialist. The reason it's specialized is so that it can be very precise. And so you do have to slow down and understand it so that you can see and point to the significant features of the buildings. And so there's a lot in here, not to go over all of it, but Shota's talking about some elements. And then there was a really nice moment where Yujo made a connection to Hagia Sophia. And you should look at my response to that too, because one of the questions that's come up in this chapter is, how do you engineer a stone building so that it is permanent, lasting, stable, and the ceiling doesn't fall on people's heads? And that will actually continue to be an issue. So you're on a kind of a cognitive pilgrimage to understand architecture. And your pilgrimage moves into a new century in Module 7, around 1150 to 1250, instead of around 1000 to 1150, roughly. And then it also moves into some new architectural elements and ideas. And also in terms of your assignment, this is a different week, because this week gives you not a discussion and not a quiz, but your sort of significant project, which is a kind of summation of the skills you've built so far. A writing project that's worth 75 points rather than 10 or 15 points. And you are supposed to show in this project the kind of knowledge that would have been tested in the quiz for 20 or 25 points. So this is a milestone assignment. And so I want you to really read that prompt carefully, and also make sure that you are giving all of your energy and attention to understanding each page, because your goal will be to pull together this information in your own fresh and creative way. And so you have until October 10th to turn this in. And there are no other point-bearing assignments this week. But I know that that can be both a gift and a curse, meaning for a lot of us, having kind of open time that's not structured with deadlines can actually be really hard, even though it's supposed to I'm meaning it to allow you time to really master the intricacy of these cathedrals and their history, and how you have to understand, oh, no internet. Okay, here we are. So an example of Chartres, often called the quintessential example of what so-called Gothic architecture is about. Well, it's about so many things, right? There's a complexity here that you need to contend with in this module. The complexity of the architectural design, including all the stone masonry engineering that goes into that, such as ribbed groin vaults, the complexity of the stained glass, which is the centerpiece of this visual aesthetic, the complexity also of the exterior, which you'll see has its own module page full of sculpture. And you saw in the Romanesque that music is an element, chanting. So I want you to be able to take time with that so that you can really own this material. To help you, I have another Q&A discussion board, which is not about points, but just about learning, just about being open to asking questions. So please use this. I'm going to keep it open until September 23rd, and I'm going to use it as a dialogue where I can help you master what you're being asked to learn in this section. So one of the first things you want to do is to read the prompt carefully. I have constructed it as a travel guide because I want you to imagine an audience who isn't me, the art historian with the PhD, an intimidating audience, but is actually a general audience. Your peers, maybe a classmate who's going to travel to France. And so read the prompt right away, read it more than once. One of the biggest mistakes students make is to not really use the prompt as a scaffolding. A good prompt is a scaffolding telling you, hey, do this. Hey, do this. Hey, have you checked every one of these things? So you can also ask me questions about this prompt in the Q&A. Okay, so I will be there and I will be announcing a Zoom drop-in meeting time if anyone wants to workshop their project. Stay tuned for that.